Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show with your hosts, Rusty Buckets and Uncle Buck. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to your Thursday. Good Lord. Let me start over. What's up, everybody? Welcome to your Thursday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, coming to you live on Bluff City Media's YouTube channel, 11 a.m. Central. I got my guy, Drew Gann, a.k.a. Uncle Buck, on the mic with me. Uncle Buck, I don't know why I waited so long on getting a microphone boom arm, but this is like the greatest thing. It just makes life so much easier here.
Listen, welcome to the 21st century. We've been doing this show for, 2 years now, and I've had a mic, a boom the whole time. And so you obviously didn't consult my opinion on it, but I have full reign of both hands and an empty desk in front of me. You have missed out on that.
It's really nice because it makes it easier for jotting down like FanDuel notes and keeping up with things, right here in front of me. It's so much. It's nice. Like I don't know what to do with my hands now without this mic stand in front of me. But I am having to make sure I get all my typing done beforehand because it's kind of like which way does the arm go to get around it? But first world problems, I guess.
Yeah, well, just raise it up. You don't have to have it straight up and down like this. You can come to the side with it or whatever you need to do.
The Yeti, like the blue Yeti, you're supposed to be in front of it. I mean, I guess I could
but there's settings in which you can change the range in which but
it says in the paper, no matter what, you need to be, the mic should be in front of you like this is what my little pamphlet over here says. Because I was looking at that the other day because I thought about that, but I'll
tell you what, you got such an expensive mic and it requires so much of you.
It does.
So
it does.
It does. I have a $30 mic and I could do whatever the heck I want.
I'm sure I can adjust the settings and get it however I want, but that's how we're rolling with it for now. On this Thursday, got a jam-packed show for y'all today. A lot of Grizz news that we're going to talk about. I got a lot of college football, including the Greased poll. Shout out Wayno King Meeks for being here in the comments. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here every day. But we start our Thursdays off with a little bit of introspectiveness, where we look inward.
I think you had it right the first time.
Introspection? I think so. That's what we're going to roll with. We look inside ourselves and see what we have going on that can help you find people in our Therapy Thursdays.
I tell you what, that music, if there's music that puts you in the mood, whatever 180 degrees opposite of that is that, that's funeral music, but that's what we're here for. Yes. And Rusty's got something he needs to get off his chest, apparently. So I do. Hit us with it.
I hit you with it last night. So shout out Parrish, join us in the comments today as well. Guys, one of the things I can recommend is, brothers are close, right? Family members are close, but get you a best friend, right? Drew and I have been best friends for over a decade now. We talk in some form or fashion every single day, whether it's in a text message or a group chat. We interact pretty much every day. Memes, on Instagram, tweets back and forth, more so than I do with my own brother. Flesh and blood. And so get you a best friend, because not only are best friends good to be there, Drew and I walked through some hard times together. We've been there through ups and downs, and Drew's one of the first people I call to celebrate wins and all that stuff with. But they're also good at humbling you, and it's always your own. And so yesterday there was a Twitter exchange going on where Evan of the No Bluffing podcast started a thread about how we should do a Bluff City Media versus a Grind City Media basketball game. And I got tagged in it as one of the participants. And Kenny tagged out and offered Gabe Kuhn. And Gabe said, they're looking up and down Grind City, there is no match for me. And he's not wrong. Guy's a big fella, athlete.
He's a behemoth, yes.
Zach Randolph. Well, as the other post player that was tagged on that, I just throw up a little picture of Mark and Zach and hey, this is me and Gabe in the post right here.
Yeah.
3 hours later, after a bunch of back and forth, all Bluff City Media is ganging up on Grind City Media. What happens when my best friend and co-host doesn't fire shots at Grind City Media, but fire shots is me? His own, and I even included him in the thread in the role that he requested. So get you a best friend that not only is there for you, but keeps you humble in moments when you're trying to talk crap to a rival media company.
I just wanted to make sure we were all clear and that you were, in fact, referring to yourself as Marc Gasol and not one of the blurry people in the background, because it begged the question to me that, okay, I need to make sure, because if he's referring to himself as Marc Gasol, then buddy. So I just want to make sure there wasn't anybody else back there. That
in this instance, like, I'm not saying I'm Marc Gasol at the world at large, but in a Bluff City Media versus Grind City Media game, I would be the ipso facto Marc Gasol.
Just because you're tall.
Yeah, because Gabe would be Zach Randolph, bully ball, and I'd be
Gabe's fluffier, so you're assigning him Zebo.
No, I'm saying he's bulling a China shop. He even talked about that in the thread. So I'm like, all right, you be Zebo. I'll be in the high post facilitating, getting some shots here and hitting the billionaire shuffle down the road or down the court.
What does make this funnier that was not my intent was I did not realize it was 3 hours after the fact when it popped up on my Twitter. And, my only thing is we've talked about this before, and everybody, listen, allow the short man a pedestal to stand on right now. Is like I don't expect to get picked for the teams here. You know, we got Brevin Knight and Elliot Perry and Rusty, who is just tall, and Gabe, who's a former Division I athlete, and Evan runs track. I get all that, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm the best shooter that Bluff City Media's got, and I was just nominated to stand on the sidelines and hold a microphone, which I am equally good at.
There's
but
context
nobody
to that.
paid attention to my JV high school tape, apparently.
So I have been at the Bay Springs campground and watched this man knock down threes like he's Cam freaking Spencer, Luke Kennard in a heyday. And my initial thought was, let me chime in and I'm going to say, let's get Drew Gann, our Cam Spencer, on the court. But when we had this conversation a couple of months ago when this first came up, and I was like, Drew, we got to get you to play. And you were like, no, I want to be on the court with a microphone, like Rucker Park style, like sideline reporter calling the game. And so then in the thread, what do I say? But we need Drew Gann and Rob Fisher tagging you in it as our sideline reporters.
I don't need Rob. No, I mean, it was just all fun and games. But, obviously, when we were talking about it and daydreaming about what this would actually be fun and we were going through the logistics, I was like, I would actually like to commentate. But in this fact, what I assumed to be a fictional basketball game we were talking about nobody would even mention, like it wouldn't even cross anybody's mind. And I don't expect anybody to. Nobody knows. Nobody's seen me hoop. Except for Rusty, and he just nominated me on the sideline. I don't even have that nice of a suit. I mean, Rob would have to dress down exponentially to match me. So
well, I'll say this: it was at your request that I made that. Next time, just know I'm comparing you to the. You'll be our round mound of not rebound, but not.
No, I'm not rebounding. In fact, I'm not getting inside the 3-point line at all.
No, that's it. You're going to be what we thought Luke Kennard was going to be. Just be that sniper that never crosses the 3-point line.
And I will play as good a defense as Luke Kennard did.
Yeah. Evan's talking about a diamond press full court defense. I'm like, brother, my fat tail's camping out in the paint. I'll meet you on the other end.
Evan's in his 20s still. He's fresh off of a track career. Yeah. He can do that. You can do that.
I am 3 knee surgeries deep. I will meet you in the paint and wait on
3
you.
3 cheeseburgers deep. So.
That too. But we do have some real basketball, not fake basketball, buffoonery to talk about, Drew. In a season that I think is going to define a lot of things, but as the title of this episode says, I think this is a season where we can really look at Zach Kleiman and talk about his role in this team, which we'll do in our Talking Grizzlies section.
That's right. Welcome to the $2 Sports Show. We have just aired out our dirty laundry right here in front of everybody, and that's what we do on Thursdays is we hang out the clothesline and let all of our laundry just air out all over all you people. Mm-hmm. And so we're getting into sports now. The Grizzlies played a preseason game in which they fell to the Charlotte Hornets to drop them to 0-4 in the preseason, but who's counting? So this is our Grizzlies segment. Rusty, take us where you want us to go.
Yeah, we can start there. We'll be brief in what was an ugly game. I know y'all talked about it this morning on the Daily Grind, so I don't want to beat a dead horse and rehash what was
because the horse is dead.
I mean, run over twice. Like it ain't.
Jeez.
Like here's the thing. like I said in the comments this morning, I think we can camp out here when we're talking about the game. Absolutely, brother. Like we'll just be out there tackling folks. I'm getting my 5-6 fouls.
I will get my 6 fouls.
Absolutely,
sure.
I'm getting my 6 fouls, brother. Like you will not go home saying that Rusty did not try on defense.
And when I foul somebody, I'm just because of my stature, I will be taking out knees. And so LaMelo, buckle up, buddy, because you're going to hit the ground hard.
Just saying, there was my junior year at Kasu, there was a game where I had 2 points, I had 9 blocks, and I had 8 rebounds. So just know that's the kind of player we're dealing with here.
Hey,
but anyway,
so take us.
Last night against the Hornets, it was just an ugly performance. And like I said in the comments today, the ground this morning, the preseason game outcomes do not matter, but the effort and the execution in them do. And that's just where I'm at, right? Like the outcome, did we lose to the Hornets? I don't care. Now, I ain't giving up a 145 spot. That's where I care, because the effort was not there defensively. The execution was not there defensively. We couldn't get a rebound to save our life last night. And, to their credit, the Hornets did play their guys like January type numbers. I mean, we had 30 minutes from Brandon Miller, 30 minutes from Miles Bridges, 28 from LaMelo Ball. I think part of that they were hurt all last year. Maybe they're getting their run while they can now. But again, outcome doesn't matter. Execution and effort in the game does. And I did not love what I saw last night.
I mean, I'll put it to you this way. In principle, I agree with you. Wins and losses doesn't matter. But there's 48 minutes of basketball there. That's the only thing that you can draw from before the regular season starts. Summer League, it truly doesn't matter. Those guys aren't even on rosters for the most part. This is preseason. This is what you got. And a talking point a lot is about, everybody plays their starters against us. Well, I mean, you've got to some point, and by game 4, you're going to see a lot of the NBA superstars playing lots of minutes because they are ramping up. That's why you play preseason. If you're not ramping up towards something, then there's no point in even playing regular preseason basketball. And so that makes me a little concerned as well, because if that is the trend, is that all these teams ramp up as preseason goes, and then you'll probably see in the last preseason game nobody plays at all. That's typically how it goes. But if you're ramping up, then these rotations, the amount of players that are playing, the minute distribution that we're seeing is probably what we're going to see in game 1. Yes, you're probably going to inject Ja Morant, and you're going to inject. I'm going to have to get a sticky note and put that dude's name on it. Ty Jerome. I always want to call him Jay. And I think it's just because his last name starts with J, and it just derails me every time. Yeah, you're going to inject Ty Jerome and Ja Morant into that. But, I mean, the Hornets, who are a lottery team every single year, yes, they dealt with injuries last year, but lottery team every single year just hung 145 on you, and it was an easy 145. And we're still not rebounding. The hustle stuff bothers me. You're talking about you want to playing the Grizzlies is like going to the dentist. Like, no, brother, it ain't. It just ain't. Not right now. And so, yeah, maybe you just see a massive uptick in intensity when regular season comes around. But, like, all we've got is all we've got. And what we've got sucks so far.
Yeah, I'm worried that we're going to enter the season much like we did last season, where we're saving our guys for the postseason, and we're running out 14, 15-man lineups, and I hope that changes. I do hope that changes. You think the preseason, and Tomas said preseason's for development, so I feel like what he's telling us is exactly that. We're going to ramp up the guys in the regular season. The preseason, we're figuring out what we have on our bench, because let's face it, outside of Jaren and Jalen, we had a bunch of bench guys last night playing against the Hornets starters, and you're going to get that. But, all right, so now we're 10 games into the season. Are we still ramping up, figuring out our bench guys because we didn't get any Ja Morant in the preseason? And I'm not saying that we need him. I'm glad he sat out so he can be healthy for the 82. But that's where we're at, right? You're using it for development. Now we got to ramp our guys up early, or are we still going to have our starters playing the least amount of minutes out of the entire NBA as we did last year and mostly the year before? in the Noah LaRoche offense. Tomas Isolo preaches effort, pace, and aggressiveness and intensity. That's wonderful and all, but I don't need 25 minutes of Santi Aldama playing against other starters. I need that. I need 28 minutes.
Oh, well,
30 minutes.
pick a different guy. Pick a different guy. Santi's going to get 25 minutes.
Like, I'm saying I don't need that. I know he is, but that's not what I need.
But listen, everybody, and I'm not, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not starting Tomas's tenure as the Grizzlies coach being a hater. Like, I'm going to take it like it is.
Out on that. Exactly.
Well, you can't. You hated the last guy. I think you're going to get a lot of what you got from the last guy and this guy. And I think that you're going to see a deep bench, especially early on. We'll see if he locks into a rotation-ish, but a lot of that's going to depend on health. That's what tanked Taylor, and that's what's going to tank Tomas. The intensity thing is weird. He's doing a lot of the arms crossed on the sidelines that used to irk you and everybody else when things were going bad. Like, you didn't see intensity, but I don't care about the talking points as much. You talked about intensity, pace, all that kind of stuff. There's not a coach in the world that doesn't preach intensity, pace, and all that. Like, that's cornerstones of every single sport franchise out there. Like, that's what you're going to preach. And so you got to see it. You got to see it. And I hope I'm wrong when it comes to, like, it's preseason. Ja Morant does improve everybody around him. He's a top 15 player in this league. We'll figure it out. I think that it's going to be fine. But listen, I can't just sit here with 4 games and watch it and be like, this means nothing. Like, it does mean something.
Like I said, the outcomes mean nothing, but the effort in the 48 minutes does.
But I'm not talking about
what I've
outcomes.
seen. Yeah, I know.
I'm talking about 48 minutes.
I'm not saying you. Yeah, the 48 minutes, that's what we agree on. The 48 minutes have not looked good, and I'm just telling you that if we don't ramp that up, the over-under on FanDuel being set at 31.5, like, or 39.5, sorry, 39.5 is like, we're going to be flirting with
it's
that. It's
41.5, I thought. Did it go down?
Oh, it dropped to 39.5.
And it was just so much more exposed this year, I think. You were able to roll out Desmond if Ja got hurt, and you could trust that, you're going to probably beat, bad teams. You played Charlotte last night. Listen, let me just take a minute and praise Charlotte. They're devastating if they're going to be healthy, and they're an Eastern Conference team that could absolutely make a run at a play-in playoff this year if they can stay healthy. That team is young, and they run and they can shoot. Not a person on that team can't shoot. So they were.
I saw this tweet from Coach Vaughn on Twitter last night. Coach Vaughn, somebody had said, so Brandon Ian, big fan of the show. He's been in the Daily Grind. He's been in our comments before, talking about got to see the results of the Desmond Bane trade to believe it. I know KCP and Ty Jerome are great players, but Bane was a walking 25-5 3-point threat. So Coach Vaughn did some math that I'm not great at. And said Ty Jerome in 2 preseason games and KCP in 3. Ty Jerome had 13 points, 2 boards, 3.5 assists in 17.5 minutes. And KCP, 14.3, 3 boards, 2 assists in 21 minutes. So if you scale that out to 25 minutes a game, then you're going to get 18.5 points from Ty Jerome, 16.8 from KCP, right around 3.5 rebounds from each, 5 assists from Ty Jerome, and 2 from KCP. So a combined effort of the two guys for 35 points, 6.5 boards, 7 assists, which last year Desmond Bane averaged 19, 6, and 5. Again, this is math. This is in the aggregate. This is us talking points in the preseason. But those type numbers can replace Desmond Bane in the aggregate, but you're going to have to get consistency from those guys, and that's one thing that the Grizzlies haven't had.
Yeah, and I keep coming back to this. Like, I do believe that this team, if healthy, is really good. But Desmond Bane provided you a third person that could just go for 30. Like, the problem I have without Desmond Bane, and I was a fan of, I'm not doing revisionist history here. I was a fan of the trade. You got a haul for him. I think Cedric Howard's going to be great. Okay? But the problem in the short term is if Ja is down, Jaren needs to go for 30, average 30. And if Jaren goes down, Ja needs to average 35 and 10, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that third person there that can just carry the team. And
I think
Desmond was flawed, but you're right. If in a pinch, Desmond could go. Hadn't he gone for 50 before? Like, how many people can do that? You know?
Yeah, I think Ty Jerome can. He's gonna but he's gonna have to show it. Like we saw him go on some heaters last year. We saw him in a fourth quarter in Cleveland put up like 20 something in the fourth quarter alone on us. And so like Ty Jerome can be that guy. We're just gonna have to see it be more consistent.
And this is just scars talking for me. Like this is just scars from seeing your star players be injured a lot. Mm-hmm. Ideally, you don't deal with that, and I do think that the pieces of the puzzle fit together well.
Yeah, agreed. I do think our floor is a bit higher, which brings us to, speaking of the trade, I saw this tweet this morning. I thought it'd be interesting to talk through. Shout out MemphisX_NBA on X. Says, everyone talks about the price the Knicks paid for Mikal Bridges, but how many picks has Zach Kleiman burned through trying to find a small forward? Zaire, Roddy, 2 on Jake, 3 on Marcus, 2 to get 1 to drop, and now 2 picks on Cedric. That's 9 first-round picks, and they're starting a second-round pick at the small forward with Ja and Jaren, if you count Jalen as the 3, either him or KCP, but we'll say Jalen here as well.
Yeah.
It makes for an interesting point because the asking price for Mikal Bridges was 4 or 5 first-round picks, and now we've used 9 and still don't have a small forward that could be that guy. It's a bit of revisionist history looking back, sure, but 9 is a lot of picks when maybe we could have added a 5th or 6th and got Mikal Bridges on this team.
Right. For me, you look at where these players are taken. The biggest glaring miss on this for me is Zaire, where they picked Zaire on tilt because they just knew that Giddey or Franz Wagner was going to fall to him, and they didn't, and they just went on tilt. But that was the 10th pick of the draft. Mm-hmm. They took a guy that was super young, that had all the measurables. You went measurables on that one, and it didn't work out. Roddy, late second round. Jake, out of the lottery. Roddy, late first round. Jake was out of the lottery in the first round.
Jake was 17th pick.
Yeah, those were swings. Like, I don't mind swings. I went on record. That's kind of why I was in on Coward. Coward is a swing to the same level that Zaire was when it comes to just college production.
And measurables.
I believe in the person, and everybody, the public opinion of said is obviously a lot higher than Zaire was. But then nobody faulted Kleiman for going and trying to get Marcus Smart. It just turned out badly. Nobody predicted that. Everybody was a fan of that. So I don't really like attributing mistakes after the fact when in the moment you're just like, this makes sense.
Yeah.
And also, I like taking swings on wings. Like, you just have to. It's not a proven science. And so you look at the most famous general managers in the world out there, trying to think of the guy at Golden State who's now on the panel for ESPN, but Bob Myers. He took James Wiseman number 2. Okay, like that was a swing of epic proportions that backfired. Marvin Bagley went number 2 over Luka Doncic and Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, this kind of stuff happens, but you've got to trust the process leading up to it. And leading up to all of these, we were all on board with it, with the exception of maybe Jake, because nobody knew who he was at all.
Yeah. So my only thing is, I agree. Like the Marcus Smart one, I definitely agree on. You just can't, like, at some point, you keep taking swings. You took a swing on Zaire. You took a swing on David Roddy. Took a swing on Jake. We're taking a swing on Cedric. At some point, and I know Zach Kleiman loves to build to the draft. That's his MO, building his own way. At some point, you've got to take a swing, which we've taken 4 now. We tried a sure thing in Marcus Smart. It didn't work out, right? Because we had 3 straight swings, and then we went after Marcus Smart, and everybody, us included, we liked it. We felt like he fit the Grizzly MO with his defense and aggressiveness and leadership, and instead we got fat Marcus Smart who didn't even try. But now we've taken a 4th swing, and I think our next time up at the plate, it's time for Zach Kleiman to say, look, we've taken some swings. There's only so many guys, so many minutes to develop guys. we need help. We need help at the wing. We need help rebounding, and I think Zach Edey is going to help a lot with that. But I think this is a very interesting season for Zach Kleiman because last year in an exit interview, he said we unintentionally got younger, and we got younger again by relying on Jalen Wells and Cedric Coward to give us big minutes this upcoming season. Yes, we improved our age with KCP. Yes, Ty Jerome is a bit older, but he's not the savvy vet. I just think this is going to be a very pivotal season for Zach Kleiman. If Robert Pear's paying attention, and I don't know that he is, we're evaluated as I sent you this earlier, the least valuable NBA franchise out of all 30. I don't know that Robert Pear. Market. Yeah, and I don't know that Robert Pear pays a ton of attention. But if he does, this is the season that's going to be defining for Zach Kleiman in a sense that, like, you've done it your way. You've taken some swings. Took a swing in a trade. It hadn't worked out. When are we going to actually get some pieces around John Jaren to make this thing like a true competitive championship window? And it might be Cedric Coward. It might be KCP and Ty Jerome. It may be one of those things where it just needs time to gel. And so I'm not crashing out saying, oh, Zach Kleiman needs to be fired. But I am going to be watching with a watchful eye to see what this thing looks like come trade deadline and what we do to piece any holes that we have.
I do not think that this is a particular defining season for Zach Kleiman. Because I do believe that getting players to the Grizzlies is harder than any other franchise out there in the NBA. Just strictly talking about free agency. But the Desmond Bane was a big boy move. You did it. I like Cedric Coward. Again, we're talking about the small forward and taking swings and misses and missing so far on those. To me, that is a bonus. Like, that position has not been the core franchise position that we've needed. We've needed serviceable there, but you've got your point guard and your big, and up until this year, you had a 2 guard. And so you're looking for that 3rd guy or 4th guy, but that 4th guy is typically not going to be a max guy anyways. You got to find someone to play there that you can count on. And you've done a fine enough job. Not all of them are going to be all-stars, though.
Yeah, and, Wayno brings up a good point. We did try to go for Jimmy Butler and Kevin Durant. That was confirmed. And, if ifs and buts were candy nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. If one of those picks hits, it's the non-talking point, but none of them have hit. Like, I think Cedric Coward's hitting. I think this person on X with the little sweat emoji, I think you're wrong. Cedric garbage time, Coward sucks. Like, Cedric Coward's played 3 professional basketball games. Like, I don't really...
Hey, man, appreciate you being here. We like to feature first-time commenters. Absolutely. I'll tell you right now, because we haven't told everybody yet, come on over to YouTube, Bluff City Media's YouTube page. We're live. That's where Edward and Wayno and all the cool cats are hanging out. King Meeks is over here, Black Ninja DJ. They're all over here, so we like you talking to us, but you could also talk to these folks, and they're pretty cool. So come over to YouTube right now and hop in the comment section.
But I disagree with your point, though. But thanks for being here and participating. But, Drew, like it all comes down to, are we going to stay healthy, like Wayno says here? And can we develop Cedric Coward? GG clearly is not developing at the rate that we had hoped. Vince Williams Jr. looked good in the first quarter last night, and then went right back to shot-chucking abysmal Vince down the stretch. And I'm not crashing out. I'm not panicking, but I'm seeing things that I'm going to monitor a little bit closer, and I'm going to watch and see how this team kind of gels. I told Wayno earlier, Wayno and I were talking on, WhatsApp, just kind of hanging out. And I said, I'm going to take this season in 10-game intervals. And so I'm going to start a 10-game counter on this screen, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central on Blessed City Media's YouTube channel. While we're talking Grizzlies, I'm going to have a 10-game counter in the bottom corner. And we're going to look at our record 10 games at a time. And every 10 games, we're going to reevaluate what we saw over the last 10 that was working, that wasn't, or what our record was. And so I think that'll help us keep things a bit more in perspective. And I think it'll help prevent some crashing out, because you can say, hey, look, over the last 10 games, we're 6-4, or 7-3, or even 5-5. But here's what we saw that was working.
Yeah. And here's my therapy session. We're being way too liberal with crashing out. Like, I've been told I've been crashing out, and I'm just the only one that's like not being like preseason doesn't matter. Like, I'm pointing out some flaws here, and I feel like everybody that points out flaws or has beefs, that may or may not, in your opinion, seem critical. There is a line where you're crashing out. Like, there's a line. I just think we need to move that line out a little bit.
Drew hasn't crashed out, but and I don't see as much crashing out on Twitter anymore because that mute button is a wonderful thing. I saw somebody today that said, "All right, I've seen enough. I'm ready to trade Jaren Jackson Jr. after last night," and I just hit mute.
That's past the line.
That's silly. Yeah. That's silly. It's a preseason game. First one he's played, and you're ready to trade him. Mute.
You heard it here first. Rusty is pro censorship on social media.
I am when it comes to my mental health. I absolutely am. And so when the first thing I log on and I see that, thank you, random citizen, because you cleaned my timeline up a little bit better. But the Grizzlies, they've got a long season ahead of them. We got a game Friday night, one more tune-up before the regular season gets here, and we start seeing actual basketball that counts. But speaking of games that count, Drew, we have to give the people what they're here for. And that is our weekly edition of the Greased Poll. We missed it last week with you being out of town, but we will drop that right after the commercial break as we talk some college football.
It's a great day, brother. It's a great day. We woke up this morning. We were able to get out of bed. Which is more than I think we can say for LeBron James. Look, let me preface this. LeBron James, 40-year-old athlete, the man, like, I get it. I will never even get to a monicum of his physical ability peak. I will never get there. However, when I saw that he's going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks for sciatica, the first thing that went through my head was, man, this dude is old. I was like, he's human, like us. If he can bleed,
his body's like, hey, if he's not going to retire, I'm going to try to take him out with him.
Tune in to The Daily Grind with your host, Luke Hatmaker, every Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. In the heart of the Highland Strip for 27 years, Trilogy Tattoo has helped tell stories for Memphians for generations. Located at 530 South Highland, Richie and his team are waiting to help you tell yours.
From tattoos to piercings, your body art should be as unique as you are. Voted a Memphis Flyer top 3 tattoo shop in the city of Memphis since day one. Your story will be safe here at Trilogy Tattoo.
Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 11, and 3 to 11 on Sundays. They have convenient times waiting on you. Let Trilogy Tattoo help you tell your story.
Welcome back to the $2 Sports Show, Thursday edition of the show. You giving me eyes? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good.
Okay. All right. Don't look at me like that.
I'm sorry. I was actually queuing up. I was queuing up a reminder for the show this Saturday, and my computer was being funky. So I was making eyes at my computer, not at you. But
anytime I come out of break and you look at me like that, I'm like, I know I unmuted myself, but I crash out. Okay.
Yeah, that's a crash out. But speaking of crashing out, we will be crashing at Grind City Brewing this weekend for college football. 1:30 is the live football show. We'll have 11 a.m. LSU, Vandy, Ole Miss, Georgia at 2:30. Tennessee and Bama at 6:30 on the big projector. Plenty of side TVs to watch your game. It's going to be a beautiful weekend in Memphis. The Cooper Young Beer Festival is happening this weekend. Go there and then come to Grind City Brewing and hang out with us at 1:30 for all your college football games. It's going to be a great weekend, Drew.
I can't wait. I've been able to go to one of the 3. I'm excited to make it there this Saturday at 1:30 with Grind City Brewing Company. I think that if the Grind City Media, Bluff City Media basketball game happens, the prize for the winner, if we win, we should get to change Grind City Brewing Company to Bluff City Brewing Company. That should be our prize.
I like that. That's
so
funny.
It is our college football time of the show. So we've got Grease Pole to get to. We got Thursday night football tonight. Rusty, where do you want to start?
You're up first, brother. The Greased Pole Drew Gann edition for October the 16th, 2025.
The year of our Lord, 20
Year of our
and
Lord.
25. So, a couple weeks now since we've done our Greased Poll, so mine does look a little bit different.
Definitely some
Since
shuffling
we
happened.
did, yeah. So, since we've done it, yeah, Oklahoma took a loss. They fell out. Missouri took a loss to Alabama. They did not fall out because that was a pretty respectable loss there. Oregon took a loss, and Indiana, obviously the biggest mover. My 1 and 2 stayed the same. Indiana comes screaming up to number 3. And if you ever want to say that I am not biased, I jumped Ole Miss from 3 all the way down to 5, despite them not losing any games. So, Indiana going on the road to beat Oregon last weekend was as impressive as it got. Beat them by 2 scores. Did not even flinch. Incredible game for Indiana. Texas A&M, I talked about them on yesterday's show. Like, I feel like their floor is so high, and they have beaten Notre Dame. They have just maimed Florida last weekend. And I just think that their schedule looks pretty favorable going out. I think that they should be the most likely team to go undefeated in the SEC. And I try not to look forward on these, but Indiana impressed me a lot. And I think their best win is better than Ole Miss's best win at this point. Ole Miss can change this going to Athens this Saturday. But as it stands right now, Texas A&M's body of work, Indiana's body of work, Miami and Ohio State is better than Ole Miss's. And I don't feel like that's a pretty hot take at all. Then you get into the one-loss teams here, one one-loss team. My highest ranked one-loss team is Alabama, with a road win against Missouri. I think that Alabama is probably the best team in the SEC. They've just got a loss to Florida State. Texas Tech at number 7. They just continue just beating the brakes off of everybody. They beat Kansas like a drum last week. Then we've got the three more one-loss teams to round it out. Georgia, Oregon, Missouri. You could probably flip these in any fashion you want to. You can have your flavor of the day. I do believe that Georgia is probably better than Oregon and Missouri. Yeah, that's my Grease poll. I dropped Oklahoma out. You know, the loss with John Mateer against Texas was really bad. I thought they probably got exposed a little bit during that game. So, yeah, that's my Grease poll. What does yours look like?
Yeah, so Oklahoma, real quick, couple comments on yours. Oklahoma, the most offensive touchdowns they've scored against the SEC defense since joining the league is 2. It's just food for thought. They did get exposed a little bit. They traveled to South Carolina this weekend. It's an 11:45 kickoff, so it's not as daunting as it would be as a night game. I agree. I think Indiana deserves some respect. I moved them into my Grease poll as well. Texas Tech is going to run the Big 12. Not saying a whole lot. I think it's like Texas Tech, and then there's like a obviously a gap because they beat Utah like a drum. Utah plays BYU in the Holy War this weekend, so we'll learn more about that one this weekend.
T's and P's.
Yeah, exactly. But you got Ohio State, Miami, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss at the top, all undefeated teams. And right now on FanDuel, the odds for the teams most likely to go undefeated, you got Ohio State minus 270, Indiana minus 140, Miami at minus 130, Texas Tech plus 110, Memphis clocks in next at plus 380, A&M plus 550. Drew, which one of these do you think? Obviously, like Ohio State, Indiana, those are like good candidates. Any of these that jump out to you as like, hey, I feel really good about them going undefeated, or maybe not so much about one of the others?
I feel like Miami probably has the best options to go undefeated when it comes to schedule. One thing about Miami is I think they end the season playing 7 consecutive games, and then you would have to go to the ACC championship game. Yeah, I mean,
something that Josh, to that point, real quick, something Josh Pate pointed out: the ACC championship game will be like their 4th consecutive road game to finish out the year. Now, they shouldn't have much issue. They play because let's see, I've got their schedule pulling up right here because it'll be their 3rd consecutive because they play at Virginia Tech, at Pitt, and then it'll be a road game to a neutral site for that ACC championship game. Their bye weeks were around the Florida State game, which, might be good, but they're going to have to reel off, 7 straight games? 8 if you count the ACC championship game?
So I feel like that's listen, I'm not going to be mad Ole Miss isn't on there. I think all SEC teams will end up taking a loss at some point, and I think that it wouldn't surprise me as much as Ohio State and Indiana or Miami take a loss. Just the margin of error is so much smaller today than it was 5 years ago with the lack of depth. If Julian Sayin gets hurt for Ohio State, are we going to say that Ohio State's obviously going to continue being undefeated, or is it more likely that they take 2 losses? You've got to do that. If Carson Beck gets hurt, Katie bar the doors, Miami may lose out. You've just got so much exposure right now because you don't have that next man up anymore. Yeah. And so I would probably say minus odds. I wouldn't take minus odds on anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. But my Grease poll, it's time for my this weekly edition. I got Miami number 1. I think they've been one of the more impressive teams. They took care of their business against Florida State, took their foot off the pedal late for sure. But I think they're one of the better teams. They've got a real opportunity ahead of them because their schedule is very favorable down the stretch with game this Friday night. Louisville feels like a trap game. If you can kind of squeak through that one, then you've got Stanford, SMU, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, and Pitt to finish out the year. So I think that they've got a lot of good football ahead of them. But up to this point, they've been one of the more impressive teams.
A nice conference matchup with Stanford.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they've been one of the more impressive teams, as has Ohio State, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. I moved Ole Miss up to 3. I moved A&M up to 4 after Oregon lost. I did take them. They're just outside of my Grease poll top 10. I do think they're still a good football team, but they got exposed by an Indiana team who is now firmly in my top 10 at the number 8
Also
spot.
receiving votes.
Also receiving votes is Oregon, for sure. I do like Alabama. I think they are the best one-loss team out there because I think they beat the other best one-loss team out there in Georgia. I think those two teams are very good. I think that Alabama got their wake-up call in week 1 where they lost to Florida State. It was their get-right game, and it looks like an ugly loss, but Bama obviously needed that because they've been rolling. They got an opportunity this weekend. If they go out and dominate Tennessee, they will probably be in my top 4 next weekend, regardless of the outcomes for the other team, because they are that could be a statement game.
Yeah.
And then Georgia, same thing. I think that Georgia Ole Miss game this weekend is going to be epic. It's going to be one of the games that we pick tomorrow. I like Gunnar Stockton and what they do controlling the football. Their defense is waking up. They still don't have the same vaunted pass rush that they used to, but Georgia's coming around. I've been impressed with Texas Tech, the best team old money can buy, baby, and it worked. They have got some players. They've got some studs. They went to Utah and punched them in the mouth and dominated the best team that they played. They're taking care of their business. The ACC is weak as well water, as Papal would say. And it's not a great conference, for competition. But it's a great conference to go undefeated in because the rest of their schedule, they've got
Big
Arizona
12.
State this weekend. Yeah, Big 12, sorry. Oklahoma State, Kansas State. BYU is their last big test of the year. But I think Texas Tech's got a real shot to run the table in the Big 12 in what is a down week conference.
Yeah, I think that the only way the Big 12 gets 2 teams in is if Utah beats Texas Tech in the conference championship game. Mm-hmm. I saw an athletic article where they did mid-season All-Americas, and they had 3 Texas Tech defenders in their front 7 as first-team All-American.
I mean, they've been incredible. And then rounding out my top 10, I've got Indiana, who had a massive, massive win. They control their destiny at 8. Tennessee at 9. I think Tennessee is a really good football team. They kind of gotten forgot about over the last couple weeks because they had a bye last week, and they're heading into a massive game with Alabama. Listen, I think Alabama's the better team, but if I went to bed Saturday night, I would not be shocked if Tennessee found a way to upset Alabama. I think they're a good offensive football team. They play really sound defense up front, especially on their defensive line. I think Tennessee's a good football team. And I snuck Memphis in there. I think Memphis has got a real shot to be the best group of 5 team. I think there's a real shot that they host game day here in Memphis next weekend. A lot of people are freaking out because they got the 11 a.m. kick, but the 11 a.m. kick does not necessarily mean anything. We saw first week of the season, game day was in Columbus, Ohio, And then the first game of in the first game of the day was Texas and Ohio State. So I think there's a real shot that they host them, but they've got to get through UAB this weekend. You can't play around with your food. UAB's bad. They just fired Trent Dilfer. Like you can't go out there and have a mental lapse like Memphis has in the past where they have lost to food, where they play Rice in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I think Memphis is the best group of 5 team. I like what they're doing. Sutton Smith, their running back, is really, really, really good. And I think Memphis can run the table in the American.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'll point out, this is all, personal feelings. I don't think you are giving Indiana enough credit after a road loss in Autzen. But and I know we're in the Memphis media company here, but if you the way that I have not ended up with Memphis or Boise or any USF in my top 10 so far in my Grease poll is because number 11, I'm assuming in your poll would be like Oregon, and if they played on neutral side, Oregon would kill them. And so I can't go as far. If we were doing our playoff projection poll, obviously Memphis is a shoe-in right now, and after they play USF, whoever wins that game will be a shoe-in as well.
As friend of the show would say, rankings are not power rankings. There's a difference in power ratings and rankings. Do I think Memphis would beat Missouri or Oregon or any of those teams on a neutral field? No. But Oregon lost last weekend on their home field, and they got dominated. I've seen Memphis dominate the teams that they played and beat Arkansas, who is an SEC team. So I'm giving the nod to Memphis. This is my Grease poll. I'm giving the nod to Memphis for the 10 spot. I gave that nod to Mississippi State a few weeks ago. We beat Arizona State. This is my poll. If you don't like it, deal with it. And so that's where I'm at. I got Memphis.
I don't like it. I'll deal with it, though.
Deal with it. On FanDuel, you can go ahead and get ahead of the game and start voting or betting on the college football playoff path to the finals. And you can bet on the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals right now, FanDuel.com. Right now in the quarterfinals, Ohio State is by and large, far and away, the overwhelming favorite. Minus 5,000 for them to be playing in the quarterfinals right now on FanDuel.com. That is not a typo. Oregon minus 130, Georgia minus 135, Miami minus 425, Alabama minus 220, and then Texas is where the money turns at plus 210. FanDuel is not out on Texas like a lot of people are. But they feel like they're still going to be playing. Of these teams, I think Ohio State is the obvious choice to be there, no doubt about it. With their schedule,
and you know why?
Defense.
No, it's because
first round bye.
Yeah, it's because they're going to get a first round bye if they win.
I think they're going to win the Big Ten. I think right now, like feet to the fire, I think Alabama's going to win the SEC. Miami is going to win the ACC. I think Texas Tech obviously going to win the Big 12. But I think that of these teams, obviously Ohio State's got the best path there. They have the best defense. They're one of the best all-around teams. But I wouldn't sleep on Georgia. Georgia at minus 135. Kirby Smart, it feels like, again, that Alabama game was the wake-up game. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. Massive tilt this weekend in Athens with Ole Miss. But we'll see how the rest of the season shakes out.
I don't know what to make of Georgia. For some reason, they can't rush the passer. They struggled with all. I mean, before the phantom fumble, as not Peyton Thorne. That's last year. As what's that quarterback? That trashy quarterback at
Robbie Ashford?
No,
Jackson
he's
Arnold.
At Wake Forest. Jackson Arnold
Is there now? But some of that was there previously.
Oh no. And the phantom fumble as he went over the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia at that point had gone a half of football and had like 22 yards to their name. And that just totally flipped, and refs lost control. Hugh Freeze lost control. And so I don't know what to make of Georgia other than to say that they are beatable. But I think that any team in the SEC is beatable this year.
Josh Pate had an interesting take on them the other night. He was talking about Georgia. It feels like Kirby Smart sees this as just like a fun, coachable team that he doesn't have the same athletes and the level of players that he normally does. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but maybe on defense, but offensively, I think they got dudes that can play. I just don't think they're using them. When was the last time you saw a Georgia tight end not be used like Oscar Delp this year? Oscar Delp should be.
Yeah, but if he's not being used, it's probably because he's not as good.
Well, it's also there is a history
of really good tight ends coming out of Georgia. So
and it's a different system. Things have changed. Like I don't know that what is Mike Bobo. I don't know that he's quite. I don't know. Well, like
is he still there?
I think so.
Yeah.
Who's their? I can't remember who their.
That
OC
may be
is,
right.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So-
regardless, it's not the same Georgia team, but that's also a dangerous Georgia team if they can get right and get rolling because they are Georgia after all.
Of course.
But that's our Grease polls of the week. It's subject to change coming this Saturday. It's yet another moving Saturday in the SEC and college football at large, which we'll pick against the FanDuel spread tomorrow, Drew, as there are some massive, massive football games this weekend.
Yeah, I can't wait. I will be at Grind City Brewing Company. See, now I'll never get that straight. I'll be at Grind City Brewing Company for a 1:30 show. That'll take us all the way up to Ole Miss in Georgia. And look forward to seeing everybody there. I know King Meek said he was going to be there. Hope everybody shows up for us. This will be the first time that the weather is just going to be perfect. Not going to be too overly hot. So,
and just confirmed, live breaking news on air. Not only am I going to be there, not only is King Meeks and Drew Gann going to be there, but Jared Davidson's going to be there on the mic with us.
Y'all, please come. Don't let that discourage you. Please come.
Bueno, there's still time for time travel. You can come back and have a brew with us.
You would have to leave now.
Yeah, you'd have to leave now, but you can get there still in time for the show. Well, that's going to do it for your Thursday edition of the $2 Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, with my guy, Drew Gann, a.k.a. Uncle Buck, here live Monday through Friday on Bluff City Media's YouTube channel. Come hang out with us tomorrow. We got our Bucks Big 3. We're going to pick against the FanDuel spread. We got a Grizzlies preseason, the last preseason game against the Miami Heat to talk about. Full show once again tomorrow. But thanks for hanging out with us here today. In the meantime, go be a friend to somebody who needs a friend. And Drew, tell them why there are no refunds.
That's right, because with the $2, you always get what you pay for. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. We'll see you back here next time.